This is CBS.
It's a double murder-suicide that some people say could have been prevented. We'll take a look tonight.
Also coming up, a helicopter goes down near the American River. I'm Dick Cable.
And I'm Beth Ruyak. Also ahead, an apology in the state legislature.
And the unusual product on the market, bags of peanuts that do a stand-up routine. This is News 10 at 6.
KXTV's News 10 at 6, Sacramento's first Emmy Award-winning news program. You're watching KXTV Channel 10. And now, News 10 at 6.
Thank you for joining us. And topping this newscast, a deadly helicopter crash sparks a large brush fire.
Yeah, the chopper apparently crashed into a power line along the North Fork of the American River near Weimar. And George Warren is standing by with a live update. George?
Beth, the fire is burning just over this ridge here, and we've got aerial pictures to show you, shot from Air 10 about an hour ago. What you'll see are air tankers dropping retardant above the flames to try to stop the advance of the flames up the hill, because, of course, that's where the flames want to go. There is the Robinson helicopter. It's a lightweight helicopter, a two-seater, and both people on board the helicopter were killed. The way we understand this, the helicopter clipped power lines that perhaps are not marked. Sometimes they are not. As they span these canyons, the helicopter crashed into the riverbed there, knocking down the power lines, which started that 40 or 50-acre brush fire and knocked out power to residents in Forest Hill, which is on the south side of the American River. So that's the latest now. As we understand it, 2 people killed in the helicopter, power out in Forest Hill, and the fire being fought now by the CDF. Containment time estimated at 8 o'clock tonight. Beth and Dick?
'Tis the season, we have to remember.
And due caution required. And firefighters today put out 2 of the biggest fires of the season. This is one of 2 fires in San Bernardino County that burned about 1,000 acres. Gunfire from target shooters started one of these fires. Fireworks started the other. We hear that no structures were burned and no injuries have been reported. We also have an update on a rash of arson fires last year that terrorized the foothills community of Auburn. Authorities say that 26 fires just like this one were set by Micah Jellison last September. Sentencing is set for August 9th after a judge had granted a continuance today.
A childhood of neglect and abuse. A lawyer says that may have been the root of alleged mental problems that drove Eric Houston to the Lyndhurst High School shooting spree. This afternoon, a psychiatrist testified that the 21-year-old Houston is a schizophrenic. The doctor also said that when a teacher allegedly molested Houston and then flunked him, that may have been just enough to push him over the edge. Also today, Houston's stepbrother testified that Houston had an obsession with Terminator movies and a real love for guns. Houston himself may testify tomorrow. If convicted, he could face the death penalty. Could anything have prevented the death of 2 children in a tragic murder-suicide over the weekend? Police say Joel Souza threatened to take the lives of his children before, and he was known for having a violent temper. Ken Bastida has the details.
35-year-old Joel Souza ended yesterday's tense 9-hour standoff in his estranged wife's home with gunfire. SWAT team members entering the house found Souza dead in an upstairs closet, the result of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. His 2 children, 8-year-old Nicholas and 5-year-old Cherie, were also dead. Police, trying to piece it all together today, say Souza and his wife Jennifer were going through an especially difficult separation and divorce, a situation that exploded this weekend when he caught her with an alleged boyfriend.
We assume that this is probably what put him over the edge.
But the family's problems were not new to Antioch police.
Souza was accused of kidnapping his own kids back on May 25th. A family friend convinced him to return the kids 2 days later. Antioch police investigating the case recommended that kidnapping charges be filed. Those charges were sent to the district attorney's office here, but the DA never filed charges.
Because the mother did not want us to prosecute him.
This despite a threatening letter written by Souza in which he wrote, "Divorce equals death, so I will take care of it for all of us." Police are also baffled why Jennifer Souza would obtain a restraining order against her husband, yet give him custody of their children for the summer. Following the shooting, police say they discovered something weird. Recent newspaper clippings of San Francisco's 101 California shooting tragedy in a van that he rented. Their investigation is continuing. In Antioch, Ken Bastida for News 10.
And in a petition Jennifer Souza filed with the court earlier this year, she stated, "I fear for my life and my children's life. He is very dangerous, very unstable."
California's easy access to semi-automatic assault weapons has state leaders re-examining gun control issues. News 10's Rosie Gaitan tells us about proposed legislation that would ban more weapons and put tougher limits on ammunition.
July 1st, a gunman opens fire with 2 semi-automatic assault weapons in a San Francisco high-rise. Gianluigi Ferri fatally wounds 8 innocent victims. The gunman's weapons, Intratec DC-9, which can be legally bought in California. Now we learn that it's a copycat of the Tech-9, which is banned in this state.
We've had discussions about the need to move quickly on banning these look-alike assault weapons.
The state's top cop backed Senator David Roberti's call for a ban on these weapons, as well as tougher restrictions on large-capacity ammunition clips. It would be illegal to have a clip holding more than 15 bullets.
I think they just keep reaching too far and keep grabbing bits and pieces of it. So they keep taking more and more away. So the kind of hunting that I do, especially when you're going for depredation of predators for grain farmers, you have to use sometimes larger capacity magazines.
I don't think it's going to solve the problem. So I am worried about it. I want to enjoy shooting, and I don't go around shooting people. So I don't think restrictions on guns is the answer.
Now, Roberti's proposed legislation, SB 1128, goes to committee tomorrow. And Dick, I should tell you that other bills, clip bills that would restrict large capacity ammunition have failed in the past. So we'll see what happens to them tomorrow.
All right, thanks, Rose. And that's also the subject, as you may know, of our Tell 10 question tonight, which asks, should more types of weapons be banned in California? And if you say yes, the number to call is 1-800-499-KXTV. If you say no, do not restrict them, 1-800-649-KXTV. The poll is not scientific by any means, but is a way for you to voice your opinion.
Some other news, more than 650 undocumented Chinese immigrants remain on boats off Baja today. They are carrying signs that read, "USA, I love you," and "Freedom we want." Washington and Mexico City are debating which country should take the immigrants at this point. Here's a common belief that state researchers are attacking. They're calling it the immigrant welfare myth. New census data shows that longtime California immigrants are less likely to receive welfare than citizens. 3.8% of Californians living in households headed by immigrants here at least 10 years were on welfare, but that compares with 4.1% of Californians in households headed by citizens.
An offhand remark has a California legislator in hot water tonight.
Yeah, the member in question issued a formal apology today from the Assembly floor. Our insider Tom Marshall tells us what prompted this whole thing and the apology.
Well, apologies don't come easily or unwarranted in the legislature. Of course, there are those who think that the legislature should open all of its sessions with an apology to the public. Now, this incident revolves around an anti-Semitic remark made by rookie Assembly member Kathleen Honeycutt. It slipped out during a debate on a bill involving the construction industry.
And it gives the contractor great leverage to kind of Jew down the subcontractor if he's going to have to wait for the money.
It was made at a committee meeting that was televised live from the Capitol last week. The remark drew an immediate rebuke from a fellow Assembly member.
Vernacular use, Ms. Honeycutt, is offensive, and I just want to note that.
I apologize. I meant no offense, Mr. Scheer.
Honeycutt, who ran as a right-wing Christian Republican in San Bernardino County, was elected just last November. She began this week's Assembly session with a formal apology.
I simply say I'm very sorry, and I ask those individuals who are watching that telecast and were hurt by my remark for their forgiveness.
The apology is accepted by fellow lawmakers with some trepidation.
For her to be clueless about the fact that Jews and non-Jews would be offended by a comment that she made about Jewing down is boggles the mind.
I believe her apology was sincere. I believe she's done all someone can do who made this kind of mistake, and now we have to judge her by what she does in the future.
It's the second such apology the Assembly has heard in as many months. Rookie member Peter Knight was rebuked for circulating a racist joke offensive to Latinos.
It reminds us again that you just have to keep calling people when they make these kinds of statements and say, I'm sorry, in America, we just don't do those things.
When baseball executive Marge Schott made racially offensive remarks, she was suspended for a year. But the legislature will let these two incidents slide without any further discipline. Got a story tip for us? Call the Insider at 1-800-231-TIPS.
Good to get these things out where everybody can see them and get them dealt with.
Well, this one happened to be out where everybody could see.
Yeah.
It was on television on the Assembly Channel.
And dealt with, too.
And dealt with.
All right.
Thanks, Tom. Ahead, people who are letting their feet do the talking.
Also coming up, a day of decision is near in the Dorothea Puente trial. We'll have a live report.
And later in this newscast, the call of the wild.
On the next Cops.
Who did this? This guy right here. I have 25 names of people that watched him beat him up.
Police arrive at the scene of a bar brawl.
He didn't want to leave. He put up a fight. He tried to hit me. Who kicked him? I don't know. I didn't see nobody kick him.
But witnesses tell a different story, charging the bouncers with brutality.
Everyone's pointing the manager.
Now, deputies have to go in and bust the bruisers.
I want you back up here now.
On Cops. Tonight at 7:30 on Channel 10.
Gentlemen, welcome, welcome, welcome. That being so stated, on to the job at hand. Please take note. Listen carefully. To begin,
every one of these executives flew to this important business meeting on a different airline, sampling various meals, beverages, onboard services, and other amenities. Can you find the one executive that flew here on Alaska Airlines?
Plus 6.5. Divide the whole quantity by 10.
It's longer, it's wider, it's faster, it's a whole new ball game. It's the Canadian Football League and the Sacramento Gold Miners. The Gold Miners kick off their 1993 league home schedule with the 1992 Grey Cup champion Calgary Stampeders and Doug Flutie on July 17th at 6 p.m. Good seats remain, so get your tickets early. Hornet Field box office is open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. or charge by phone. Call 923-BASS. It's the Gold Miners versus Calgary. Fans love it.
I'm a mom, and I have a new baby at home, and I'm always looking for ways that I can really connect with my kids. So each day I take a few moments, and I just stop and listen. I listen as my baby coos, as my older child wants to talk or cry or laugh. And in those moments, we both end up feeling like we've been the center of attention. You know, there's so much busyness in each day, but I find that if I just stop, it's amazing how close we feel.
You know, I run into people all the time that have never shopped at a Men's Wearhouse store, and I say the same thing to everybody. Give us 1 minute. Just come into our store for 60 seconds, and you'll become a Men's Wearhouse customer. I guarantee it.
The case could soon go to the jury in the Dorothea Puente boarding house murder trial, and News 10's Mark Schumacher listened as the defense wrapped up its case today in Monterey, and he joins us live now. Mark?
Well, Dick, this is really sort of the tale of two defendants. Last week, we heard the prosecution paint its picture of Dorothea Puente. Today, the defense had its turn, and basically the two pictures couldn't be more different. And that's really where the defense has a tough road, because as attorney Kevin Climo admitted today, Dorothea Puente is no saint.
It is a tough case. There's no denying that.
Kevin Climo knows what he's up against.
You were bombarded with one of the strongest emotional pleas that I've ever heard.
They lived on the boulevard and they could make it. They get to this nice, quiet, peaceful place with this warm, wonderful grandmotherly figure and their history.
All last week, the jury was hit head-on with an impassioned closing argument from prosecutor John O'Mara. It lasted 4 days.
If you believe everything that was told you last week, you will convict her.
But Climo's point was, you can't believe it. So using a low-key approach compared to the prosecution's high energy, Climo tried to turn cold and calculated into kind and caring. Puente, he said, didn't kill Betty Palmer.
Would feed her, took care of her.
Yes, he admitted Puente cashed the Social Security checks that belonged to her tenants.
I could look her in the eye and say, Dorothea Montalvo Puente, you're a thief. Doesn't make her a killer.
And about those 7 bodies dug up in Puente's yard on F Street.
What does it prove? Proves you found a graveyard.
In his search for the reasonable doubts needed for the jury to acquit Puente, Climo emphasized the lack of witnesses to any murders and the absence of a smoking gun.
What do we know as to the cause of death? Nothing. Nothing. It's undetermined.
Mark tells us that the Puente case will finally go to the jury. They expect tomorrow. Beth?
Here's something that might surprise you. Last year's LA riots scared away tens of thousands of tourists, but an industry group says not as many as people first thought would be scared away. LA's Convention and Visitors Bureau says the riots caused a 10% drop in tourism. It did cost the city $700 million in revenue. Many had predicted losses, though, of more than $1 billion. Meanwhile, an LA man who saved 2 motorists during the Los Angeles riot is on another mission for humanity. Reginald Morris is walking 641 miles from LA to Sacramento, and when he gets here, he's going to ask Governor Wilson for money for youth employment. Morris recently started a youth jobs awareness project, and he says he's already placed more than 1,000 young people in jobs and wants the money to keep flowing.
Good for that. And as luck would have it, 2 men who are running all the way across the United States to fight hunger arrived in Sacramento today. They are Stephen Apato and Timothy Gannon. They began their run in Washington, D.C. February 28th to draw attention to the problem, and they received a proclamation of support from the city of Sacramento today. The 2 hope to finish their run in San Francisco on Thursday.
Dan Elliott standing by with the day's sports, and Harry with the week's weather forecast.
And also coming up, what a couple of tubes of toothpaste may have in common with some peanuts.
Public notice, RV buyers. The RV Expo Super Sale will be at Cal Expo, Gate D, from Friday, July 16th through Sunday, July 25th only, from 10 to 9 p.m. The first showing of the 1994 RV. All 93 models will be selling out at incredible prices. Bid on row after row of new and used diesel pushers, Class A and Class C motorhomes, fifth wheels, and trailers. Get financing on the spot from bankrupts on the premises. The RV Expo Super Sale at Cal Expo, Gate D, July 16th through 25th. Free parking, free admission. Don't miss it.
I never again want to see my wife with that look on her face. Or the kids. When your home is burglarized, the worst thing the crooks take is your family's peace of mind. The worst thing. I was so naive. I thought the neighborhood was safe. I was so naive. I could have done something to help prevent it. I could have done something. I could have. Don't do it to your family. Do something now.
Call Brinks for more information about affordable home security before it's too late. Call 800-2-BRINKS now.
The wedding of Adam and Eve reveals a secret about the bride on Northern Exposure tonight at 10.
When you make a great tasting salad dressing, you don't skimp, you do it right. You blend lots of aged Parmesan and Romano cheese with pure oil and vinegar and plenty of fresh garlic, herbs and spices. At Bernstein's, we want to make the most flavorful salad dressings that ever came out of a bottle. So at Bernstein's, the recipe is simple. Where others skimp, we splurge.
I know what I like and don't like. I don't like irregularity. It slows me down. I don't like harsh chemical laxatives. I like natural, like new smooth texture, regular flavored Metamucil. It's the only natural fiber with no sweeteners, no added flavors, as well as no grit. I don't like those. So it's easy to take, easy to get the extra fiber I need, and it works just the way I expect from Metamucil, to get the body up and running. I like that.
Metamucil, the natural choice for regularity.
Hello, sports fans. A very serious accident today at the Talladega Speedway, and this wasn't involving stock cars. Instead, a helicopter piloted by veteran race car driver Davey Allison. Just yesterday, he received clearance to fly helicopters, and today he crashed one into the infield at the Talladega Speedway. He suffered a head injury, lung damage, and a broken pelvis. He's listed in very critical condition. He's also in a coma. Allison, of course, is a member of the famous racing family. His dad is Bobby Allison, and his brother Clifford was just killed last year during a practice run. Stuart will have an update for you on his condition tonight at 11 o'clock. And another somber note in sports, the funeral today for Hall of Fame baseball pitcher Don Drysdale in Southern California. California. Big D eulogized as not only a great athlete, but also a great person. More than 1,000 people were on hand to attend the service. Better news. Day one of baseball's three-day All-Star break today, and they'll play the All-Star game tomorrow night in Baltimore. They did announce the starting pitchers this afternoon. Mark Langston of the California Angels to open for the American League, and a former Giant, Terry Mulholland of the Phillies, will start for the National League. They also had a celebrity home run hitting contest. None of the celebs hit any home runs, but on a point basis, Michael Jordan won with the most hits, and no, I don't know if he placed a bet on himself. Three-peat. Yes, it happened in the NBA, and now it could happen in the Tour de France. Ninth stage today, and two-time defending champ Miguel Indurain, the fastest to finish this 37.8-mile time trial. Took him 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 50 seconds. So he has taken the overall lead in the Tour. He moved from 27th place to first, and he now has a lead of 1 minute and 35 seconds. And finally, last time we saw Bob Charles around here, he was winning the Rayleigh Senior Gold Rush at Rancho Murrieta. That was the second time Charles won the Gold Rush. He was back in town today to talk about number 3.
When I get here in October, obviously I'll be giving my best, and it'd be great if I could. To win a tournament, an event such as this, you've got to have 3 days of good putting. You can't get away with 1 or 2 bad days on the greens.
Yeah, their bad day would be a good day for us. But the best news of all is the Gold Rush hopes to raise $250,000 for local charities with this year's tournament. It gets underway October 11th and runs through the 17th. They keep raising it up. Last year they raised about $150,000, and they set their sights, like I say, for $250,000, and there's no reason to believe they won't get it.
I remember, what, 7 or 8 years ago when this was just a tiny starter event, and what it's
keeps
become.
Getting bigger, and they're hoping that Ray Floyd and Tom Weiskopf come, so big names, too.
Great. Okay, thanks.
Excellent. Let's turn now to tonight's trend formation, which is all about bags like these that stand up. 5 new Planters snacks comes in these stand-up bags. More companies, we understand, are using new packaging to make their products easier to use, and that's even why some toothpaste now comes in upright tubes, which are less messy, we hear, easier to store. Convenience is also the idea behind putting ketchup in squeeze bottles, for goodness sakes. Well, these new Planters bags are said to be easy to tear open. Oh, they are, just as easy as can be. They also have an easy little pull tab here. Once you're here, Beth, you can try a hot peanut, which is what is in these. And then they have a little tear strip that you pull off them, and when you're finished, you put the little tear tab on them, and you put the little tear tab on them, and they don't work. But that's all right. Obviously, there's too much pressure on me, and I'm choked. But that's the idea. A little tear strip to peel them, seal it after you've had your hot peanuts.
This segment of The Happy Shopper brought to you by Stand-Up Peanuts.
You probably
lost the stickum.
Yeah, it doesn't have much stickum to it.
Harry, now we've eaten up all your time, so give us the number and we're out of here.
I just want to say I'm very stand-up on Squeezable.
There you go.
I don't know what that has to do with the weather. Let's take a look at current conditions now in Sacramento. 95 was our high in downtown Sacramento. Beth, why are you laughing? 94 right now, northwest wind at 6 miles an hour. The barometer's falling a little bit and at 29 and 7/800 inches, and the humidity is low at about 24%. It's comfortable out there. Let's take a look at the satellite picture. This is typical summertime weather with high pressure sitting out in the eastern Pacific. Not a real strong push of marine air. It's a very shallow push. So San Francisco is chilly, and the Sassoon Valley around Fairfield, Vacaville are mild. Temperatures in the 80s there. A bit windy in the Delta, as there is a bit of a sea breeze, but then the winds are lighter here, about 5 to 15 for the rest of us. High pressure, the dominant feature, typical summertime weather. These were the highs today all around the state. 96 up in Redding, mid-90s up and down the valley, 70 in San Francisco, 66 in Monterey. Nationally, we still have another storm headed for the Mississippi Valley area. Look at this. Tomorrow, we're expecting rain all through these areas. The only good news I have on the map, look at this. The forecast for New York City tomorrow, 89 instead of the 100s they had all last week. Here's your forecast if you're headed for the Bay Area. Fog and low clouds, nights and mornings, a little bit of afternoon sun in San Francisco, 67 degrees tomorrow, 80s as you come inland around the Bay Area. And for the Valley, well, as we mentioned, 80s in Fairfield and Vacaville, 84, 86, and 90s for the rest of the Valley, but not too hot. Foothills, mostly 90s, except 87 in Nevada City. And for the Sierra Nevada, 79 at Lake Tahoe, or 78, 79 at Truckee, and a little warmer in Yosemite in the 80s. Here's your forecast. 59 the low, 91 the high. The extended forecast, we're looking at temperatures in the 90s, mostly sunny weather all week long. In other words, typical summer weather. We'll be back with final stories after this.
My vacation was only 2 weeks away, but not in a bikini. No way. I had to lose weight fast, so I used the quick trim plan from Cybergenics, and I went from this to this and lost all the weight I needed to in just 2 weeks.
Quick Trim from Cybergenics is the 100% guaranteed all-natural diet plan, medically designed to help you lose the weight in just 2 short weeks.
For me, Quick Trim was a dream come true.
Available at GNC, Thrifty Drugs, Save-On, Sears, and other fine health food stores.
Oh, folks. Hello. Any idea how many gallons of water there are in the San Francisco Bay?
Who cares?
That's absolutely right. Who cares? Johnny, tell this happy couple what they've won.
You won a party at Harvey's Resort Casino, Lake Tahoe. You'll enjoy a deluxe room, free breakfast, free shows, and a health club for just $55 per person.
Hey, how'd you guys get in here anyways?
Who cares? So remember, folks, your party's at Harvey's.
Although Hoover can't change the way your home gets dirty, it can change the way your home gets clean with energy-efficient deep cleaning Hoover uprights. On sale now during the Clean Up on Hoover sale at Kmart. The new Elite upright with 15.5 cleaning efficiency rating and 8-foot cleaning reach is only $99. And the Legacy Supreme with 17.5 cleaning efficiency rating, attached tools, and see-through door is just $179. The future of cleaning is yours during the Clean Up on Hoover sale now at Kmart.
Power hungry.
Power breakfast.
Power breaks.
Power breakfast.
Power lifter.
Power breakfast.
Hey, there are 8 great ways to enjoy Caro's weekday power breakfast for only $2.99.
Power tools.
Power breakfast.
At Caro's, you can have a different power breakfast every day of the week.
Power play.
Power breakfast.
Powerful.
Power breakfast.
Power your way over to Caro's, the breakfast powerhouse.
Oh, yeah.
Some more early results now from our Tell 10 poll. We asked you if more types of weapons should be banned in California. Right now, this is where the voting stands. 45% of the people who have called have said yes, but 55% have said no. You still have time to get in on the poll, and we'll have final results for you on News 10 at 11.
Speaking of News 10 at 11, we hope you'll be able to join us then. We'll have much more on a deadly earthquake that struck northern Japan, spawned fires, widespread damage, major tidal waves. Plus, we will show you the mega millions earned again this weekend by the summer blockbuster movies. So be sure to join us at 11 for News 10.
Oh, finally, you might call this one the Call of the Wild.
Or for a turkey gobbler, then you...
Yeah, that's Wayne Carlton making those noises. Using a unique way to speak to the animals, he lures them closer by making sounds with his hand, and he also has designed the calls that you saw that fit into the roof of your mouth. Carlton says bears, deer, and elk have all been attracted by his calls, and he says he does all this by building the excitement.
Dolan. I'm going. And you can hear for yourself the excitement that builds up.
Oh, yeah, Wayne, we got it. He says hunters need to adopt their own personal styles to fit their personalities. I think you have to be an elk to hear the personality building there.
Maybe so. Listen, before we go, too, this little thing had nothing to do with how this bag works as a stickum. It does work great. It's the stickum is left after you peel that thing off, and then you just fold the bag, and it will adhere very neatly to that. And look at that.
Yeah.
Watch out. Watch out. Don't pop open and make a fool of me again.
But
no,
Dan Elliott's point, a jar of peanuts stands too. Whoops.
Tell Dan Elliott to mind his own business and get his own news show.
Yeah,
Thanks very much for joining us.
We'll see you here at 11. Good night.